Hello, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. Hi, guys. Gather around. We are starting our live stream now. Hopefully, it's coming through okay. Hopefully, you guys could hear me clearly. Always got to check that stuff in the beginning of my live streams. All right, welcome in. I think we have some people joining now, and people might drop off, people might join on throughout. It looks like it's coming through. I'm like checking my other windows here to make sure everything's coming through. I'm gonna do a quick sound check, which is what I do at the beginning of my stream sometimes. So let me unmute myself. You're gonna hear like an echo. Test, test, test. All right. All right. I think we're good. I think we're good. Okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining on. Anybody that's joined on right at the beginning. My name is Linda, for those that might not know. And I want to share a webinar with job seekers out there. And so definitely stick around for some great tips and tips and I guess tricks and hacks as well. This is kind of a hacking webinar tutorial in and of itself. It's going to be very informal. I want it to be interactive, so anybody that joins on, feel free to ask questions in chat. I want to invite you to follow along as well. And also, if you're watching this later after the live stream, feel free to leave a comment, a nice message, thumbs ups would be helpful as well if you guys like this content. So this is a little bit different from what I usually post on this channel. It's kind of like a catch-all with things like finance, cooking, random talks. But right now in this season, I thought this type of workshop would be really helpful. So again, this is going to be really informal. You could join on to chat as well. But this is for people who might be looking for a job. So, a little bit about me. Again, my name is Linda. I used to work at Google. I was a program manager. I have my Noogler hat here as well. And so, I've worked at a couple of different companies. And for this webinar, we're going to go through how I went through creating my own portfolio or professional resume website for myself that helped me land jobs at like Google and also got interviews at many other big companies like Netflix, Microsoft, Amazon, and also some consulting companies like BCG as well. And so this is just to give ideas out there. Doesn't mean that we might not even be looking for a job at those companies. But wherever you're looking, I feel like this particular tool that we'll be creating today will be really helpful for you guys. So we're gonna get into a whole like hands-on demo step by step. You don't need any coding experience to create a website site like this. It's all drag and drop, so no tech experience is really necessary. You just need to learn how to, I guess, click around with your mouse. And you don't need to know like the HTML or CSS as well. But I'll be going through some alternatives at the end if you do want to get into more technical stuff with site building, but this is not like a heavy technical demo. This is not for people who are very technical at all. So you can join on whether you're technical or not. And at the end, definitely stick around for a special message. I want to share with you guys a special personal message for people seeking jobs out there, especially for people who have been laid off. So feel free to stick around for that. I'll be on here for maybe about an hour or so. This website creation tool, it doesn't really take too long. So we'll see if we make an hour. If people join on and have questions, we'll probably go up to that hour as well. So yeah, we'll get started. What we have on the screen. I'm here. We're doing the portfolio website workshop, and I have created training in my own professional work. I've done a lot of tech training, but again, this is very informalized. This is a live stream right now. I've been live streaming for about 2 years, almost 3 years now. But yeah, since this is live, we'll see. Probably will stumble. I've never done training on this particular thing before, so it's the first time. But we're gonna try to make this to my right, your guys' left. This is what we're gonna create something similar to this, where you can supplement your job applications. You could supplement your your resume. You could put the link on your resume. So recruiters, interviewers can go to a site, learn more about you. It gives more color for your personality and also your work experience. So I feel like it's something that can help stand you apart from other applicants. And of course, your experience matters, how you interview matters, but this is just something that not everybody does. And I feel like it's something that has led myself to a lot of interviews with a lot of different companies as well. All right, so let's get into it. I don't think nobody has any questions for now, so I'm just gonna jump right into this this tutorial. Now, everything here I'm going to show is completely free and easily accessible. I'm all about accessibility here. So this website, we're going to do a little hack with a tool called Looker Studio. It's actually provided by Google. I actually found out about this tool before I worked at Google, and I think it's a pretty nifty tool. So we'll go into Looker Studio, and I'll share a link in chat as well, so you guys could have that. So anybody joining in and anybody that sees this video later, you could go to the second tab beside the comments and you could see the chat tab. So you could see the links that I post through here and go straight there. Now, Looker Studio, you might notice that you might already have access to it. Let me go to switch my windows out here. And this is similar to what you'll see if this is the first time you're using Looker Studio. You'll notice that if you have a Gmail account, it's already connected to your Gmail account. So anybody who has a Gmail account through Google already has access to Looker Studio. So it's completely free, accessible, and you might not know that you already have it. So what is Looker Studio? Looker Studio is actually not meant to be a website creation tool, which is what we're going to use it for today. It's actually a data dashboard analytics tool that brings in data through like an Excel file, CSV file, or other sources. And basically, it's like a lot of people compare it to Excel on steroids. And so something I forgot to mention in the beginning, my background throughout my whole career, I started out in data analytics. I used to work at a data analytics company, tech support, and then worked my way through that. But data analytics has always been kind of my bread and butter for the last decade plus. So this is what the tool does. There's examples here that you could see. Let me zoom in because these are kind of old links. If I click into them, they're gonna be a little bit broken, not gonna lie. But it's basically, dashboards. A lot of people who go deal with the stock market or invest might be familiar with like some of the graphs and tools. But there's a lot of things you could do. You could have maps in there as well. And you could it's basically a way to display lots of data in a way that's really informative to make decisions. That's the whole spiel about data dashboards and data analytics, but we're not going to get into that today. We're going to hack into this program, hack quote unquote, where we're going to use it kind of to mold it into our own professional website that is accessible for us to create as a not very technical user and also for others to consume. So it is kind of like we're going to use it as kind of like a web hosting page as well. And so we'll get into that. Now we're gonna try to create it like how my thumbnail works of this video, where you could create it however you want, but this is just a template. We'll go through this workshop. Okay, so if you go to Looker Studio, if you're following along, you can click on the top left this create button, and you have three options: report, data source, and explorer. We're not going to worry about data source and explorer now because we're not actually going to deal with a lot of data, but we're going to go with report. Now, this is the little hack we have to do, and everything will be more straightforward, I promise, afterwards. When you first create a report, you have to connect to some sort of data. And we actually don't need data for this particular workshop, so we're just going to choose anything. You could connect to like just any small file, Excel file you have, or it could be a blank Excel or CSV comma delimited file, or you could choose from the data sources that Looker provides. So we could go to my data sources, the second tab, and just click the first one, world population data 2005 2000 to 2014. It doesn't really matter what you choose. We're just going to choose this to start our template. So click that, and then you'll click add, and then click add to report, just like that. Let me move my little window so you could see I have an add button on the bottom right, which is kind of cut off. It's like, oops, kind of cut off there. I guess right there. And then let me center that again. And then I have an add to report there. So I'm just gonna like move my little head around the screen a lot so you guys could see what I'm doing. So we'll go ahead and click add to report. And then you're gonna start off with this blank piece here. I have a lot of windows in my OBS, so let me drag and drop the right thing. Okay, so now you have this blank template here, and this is where you can design your dashboard. On the right side, it's gonna have this data pane that's kind of off screen here, but it's okay because you guys don't really need to worry about that as much. Let me go ahead and minimize this so you guys could see a little bit more of the screen. It's gonna, yeah, here's fine. So we could see a little bit more of the screen on the right because we're gonna want to see that right pane there. Let me make it a little bit adjusted here and there. Okay, so this is the whole browser so you guys could see everything. And now, basically it's all blank, right? So you can create whatever design you want. You could make the report or website look how you want. Basically, it's gonna show like a little page here because it's kind of in report view, but these edges are what the viewer will see in the website. What I recommend, the way I created it is I wanted to have it easily viewable in mobile view when people and recruiters are looking through their phone on your profile, and also nice in web view. So I actually go and change my page settings. This is the first thing I recommend doing, to change the height and width. So you'll go to page settings at the top, to page, current page settings, and then on the right, current page settings will show up. And then you'll click style, the style tab underneath that. And so here, let me go ahead and minimize a little bit. Here is where you could change the canvas size. They have preset size. The one that I'm used to using is 1500 pixels by 4000 pixels. So it's going to be kind of a long, for me personally, what I use is a long website to scroll down. And it's personal preference. You could use kind of like a shorter website and have all the information in different navigation tabs, but we're not going to have navigation tabs for this workshop because I find like just having everything in one view where people don't have to click around and navigate too much is easier, faster to view. So I'm going to put 1500 here. And again, you could follow along. 1500 by 4000. Okay, so now it changed the look of here. And then you could scroll down and it's just a long page. And we're gonna break up this page into sections so it's easier to navigate. and C. So the first header will be your name and your ideally a picture of yourself. If and so I have just a little avatar that I made as an example, but what I use in real life is my own professional picture. So and for professional pictures, you could definitely take yourself against like a white or solid background is nice. Or you could go to, I got my recent ones done at JCPenney. They usually have deals where you could get professional portraits done for not too much. And so you get them done at JCPenney for a pretty affordable price or other places as well. But professional photos will be at the top. So we're going to work on the header. So let me hide this data part. So we have that. And then for the header, before we put in our picture, I want to put like kind of a color block. So I'm going to kind of section off this template with different color blocks. And I'm going to use gray. You can be more colorful if you want. I think at first I was using different colors. I actually got my template overlooked by a friend who does graphic design professionally, and they recommended this color scheme as well, and I thought it looked nice. So I'm going to kind of use like gray colors to separate. So what we're going to do is put like a color block at the top. We're going to put just a gray rectangle to kind of make and separate out the header. So this is kind of like design 101 as well, even though I always find that I'm bad at design, but so this is going to be very simplified. And so we're going to put insert at the top menu, and we're going to put a rectangle. And so we can put a rectangle, maybe just like eyeball it, and sometimes it makes it larger. It's not a perfect tool, so sometimes you do have to readjust things, but the nice thing is that it kind of like snaps. You see the red line at the right, it kind of snaps to the right. Don't know if you could see that red line coming through in stream. But yeah, you could align it pretty easily. You could use your arrow keys, and you could hold down, I believe, hold down shift. If you hold down shift, you can move by pixels, but if you use your arrow keys, it will jump fast. And so that's going to be our header for our name and our profile picture. I'm going to make it a darker gray. I'm going to choose this like third gray here. You could choose whatever color you want, but I'm going to choose this dark gray and then have white text in there as well. And then I'm going to put my profile picture. So we're going to go to insert again, and we're going to look for, or was it insert? Maybe it was picture. There's a lot of things you could add, as you could see. So I'm gonna add a picture. Let's go to here. It's image. So it's, I guess it's not under insert. I thought it would be. Yes, it is. And there's also a kind of a hotkey there at the top. You could click image at the top, and you could upload. You could connect like a URL, photo, or upload from computers. So I have an upload from computer here. I have my like little let's see, I don't think you guys see the pop-up, but it pops up my computer folder. That's fine. So again, I have an avatar that I kind of drew and made myself in Microsoft Paint just as an example, but ideally you would use your own picture. So I have mine a little bit stylized. So you could stylize the way you want. I just am a fan of this kind of like curved line, which is not perfect. But so there's your profile picture on the top left. And then I'm going to put our name. So I'm going to make this example as Jane Doe. So we're making this profile, this professional profile portfolio website for Jane Doe. So we're going to add a text box. And so we're going to add a text box, Jane Doe, and then we could stylize that to be white, make it like, we could keep it Arial, but they have a bunch of different fonts here on the right as well. Make it much bigger, like, let's do like 100 at least. Make it bold. And so you'll put your name in bold there. And then underneath, you can put the kind of expertise you have or the kinds of positions you usually have. So for this, I'm going to put an analyst, program analyst or something, or data engineer. Maybe data engineer as well would be good. Data engineer. Or just engineer. You could put coder, software developer. And honestly, I recommend people try this even if you're not a technical person. You don't have to be in the technical field to have this website. Hi, D. Wilson. Welcome in. Just lurking now, but looking forward to listen after. Thanks for stopping by. Good luck on the job search. It's tough out there for a lot of people. Thanks for those wishes. And thanks for the heart emojis for those as well. Appreciate you guys stopping by. So with this, again, I think I'm gonna gear this for someone who's more of a data analyst, technical person. So in this portfolio, we're gonna have links to like GitHub and examples and dashboards for this. However, going through this, if you are not a technical person, you could, if you're into art or have any crafts or anything visual that you could show, you could share your artwork here. I've also gone into interviews with like an art portfolio myself that I had the interviewer just like leaf through, and it wasn't like an art position, but it just kind of shows more of your personality. Also, if you have been involved with other projects that are have been made news articles of, you could link those news articles, and they usually have like graphics. Since graphics and visuals are nice, you could link those and take a screenshot of the news article as well. So anything that you could list here, you could kind of curate it for yourself. But we'll do I think the profile we are making today is more suits a data analyst. So we'll put that underneath, and I'll put it like 60. And then let's align that as well. You could also, if you might be aware of this from editing in PowerPoint or others, but you could also highlight multiple like PowerPoint and arrange them to align to the left so they're straight up and down like that. So data analyst, that's a little bit still too big for me. Let's do 50. Data analyst, 55. I'm a little bit particular about that. 55, I think, is a sweet spot. Okay, so I like to put on the right side links to your LinkedIn. If you have a GitHub, it is also highly recommended there, and also contact info like an email. So for Jane Doe here, we're gonna put those. I have images of the LinkedIn logo and GitHub logo you could find on their websites as well, and then we're gonna link them to your actual GitHub and LinkedIn so they're clickable. So we'll go ahead and add more images at the top. So we will do this. This first, we'll start with LinkedIn since that is the most common, and I think it will be working here. It's loading. There we go. So we have some transparent images there, and just kind of have it to the side. It doesn't have to be too big. Let me look at my reference photo so I can see. Let's see. What's it here? So we kind of have it in the middle. And then GitHub, insert that in. We could, if you want, another trick you could do here is if you want it to be the same size and not have to resize it every time, you could do Control C and Control V, and we'll copy a duplicate, and then you'll see on the right side here the image file name. You could click on that, and it will reopen your file drive, and you could choose another image and it will be in that same kind of sizing. So we're going to do the GitHub logo, and I think it will be in the same sizing. So as you can see, that transparency didn't work as expected. However, that's okay. Usually I have it more transparent, but we could leave it like that for now. Let me see if there is, sometimes I don't think they have a way to do transparency. Let me see, transparency. For this, yeah, I don't think they have a way to make images transparent. You'll have to do that outside of this tool, but it's there. So we have LinkedIn, GitHub, and then I like to put email underneath. So for that, we're just going to do a regular text object. So again, if you go to insert, you can do text at the bottom and put it here. And you could do something like contact Jane Doe at gmail.com or something. Gmail. Oops. It is acting weird for me. Let me copy this one and then make it smaller. Make it a little bit smaller. Right align it. Oops. 55. Let's have that as like 20. Contact. Jane Doe at gmail.com. Okay. And then you can highlight just the Jane Doe part, insert a link, and for email, it would be something like mail to Jane Doe at gmail.com. And the at didn't work there, so we'll add the at here. Sometimes it's finicky like that. It's trying to like find data when you put the at sign. So just adding it in here is fine. So again, if I went too fast, oh, and you could do open a new, I always recommend open link in new tab so that they could always go back here. But if that I went too fast, you can add a link just to partial text. You highlight that particular text, you go to the little chain link, insert link on the right. You could also right click, I think. Oh, right click doesn't work, but you go to the chain link on the right, and then that's how you insert the link, and you could open a new tab there. And I like to keep it white, so we will keep it white here. Did that work? Nope, that made it black for some reason. Keep it white. Usually that works. For some reason that's not working right now. So we'll fix that. I think it's because that, okay, that and that. Okay. Oh, I'm like Control Z is also undo, but you could do undo and redo at these top left buttons up here as well. I think they're showing on the stream. So you can do that. Let me try to add the insert link again. Mail to Jane Doe at gmail.com. And open it. Okay. Let's try to make it the same color. Oh, I guess the coloring is not working as expected, so we'll just keep it blue for now. It's not a big deal. Mail to Jane Doe at gmail.com. I don't think this is real email. If it is, don't email it. But yeah, just as an example, we'll make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so we have those three there, and then we could align it to the right, arrange, align horizontally to the right, so everything kind of matches up a little bit more. We'll move this one a little bit up as well with the shift up as well. So we have our contacts on here. It's still a little bit big for me, so We will make it a little bit smaller. Again, I'm holding down the control button and choosing different objects. So you could choose it like that. And so this email is clickable. We need to have these links be clickable. So the same thing you could do for images as well. If you go to setup and go to insert link, you could post your LinkedIn website through there and click open a new link. And same with GitHub. You would go to highlight the individual image, go to insert link, and you would link your GitHub there. So for those who don't know what GitHub is, for those that are joining non-technical, it's basically a website that hosts coding projects that you have. So you might not have a GitHub. Maybe you have like another separate art website. And there's also, you could even go above and beyond and embed websites that allow it into this view as well. So that's also eliminates the number of clicks. It's just like one place for your recruiters, your interviewers to view. And so that's how you essentially create a header. And again, you could change the colors, you could change the look and feel, but this is the way that I have mine currently. Now, there's different sections underneath. One button I did add is a resume button where you could link to your actual resume. So I have my resume actually hosted on my Google Drive, and I have it publicly accessible as a PDF file. And so anybody, I could have it linked. And so the cool thing about Google Drive is that when you link a PDF from there, it just opens in a nice clean view. They don't, I don't think people have to have a Google account or Gmail account to access this and view this. But they could access that, and they could access your resume through Google Drive as well. And you could always update it pretty easily as well. So we'll add that. So I like to put another text box. We'll just use this one. And oops, drive, resume, and you could add it here at the header. Sometimes to make it stand out more, I actually add it here, and it's invisible now, so you have to change the background a bit. So we'll do that. We'll do centered. Let me see the links here. So for this, because I want it to look like an actual button, I think what I ended up doing was doing a button like this, maybe. Yeah, so how I got to that is I went to insert, and then there's a button option. So we'll delete the text box because since I don't want the blue link there. So we're gonna do this and edit this. So you could paste the link to your resume there, and to change the text, you just click in resume. You could change the text here just like a regular text object as well. So style Arial, and here I am moving this to here. So we'll just move this a little bit underneath. And just to go with the theme, I'm gonna have the background be this. And I think that looks okay for now. I think that does look okay. Oh, so I was trying to find the bold option. Interestingly enough, so again, not a perfect tool. Kind of have to have some hacks along the way, but I couldn't find a bold option. It's probably somewhere here that I don't see, but if you highlight it and just do Control B like you were doing in Word, it will highlight it. So I guess like underline also works. Italicized also works. I'm just gonna keep it highlighted for now, and just keep it saying resume like that. Let's see, I have everything as Arial. So I think I'll keep that as there. I'm gonna reference um my example. It looks like I have resume as just one capitalized letter. Oops. Resume. Oops. Oops. Not perfect, but resume. For some reason, I think it's because Ooh, resume. It's a little bit finicky, not gonna lie. So we'll just mess with that a little bit. Okay. Have that. Have that. And then I did have it underlined in my example. So I will have that underlined and I have it kind of like smaller like this. Okay, cool. Did I have it bolded? All right. Again, I'm not the best at putting things together, but this is supposed to be, people for people that want something simple as well. So we have a resume button there. Ideally, you'll want to click this and then go to insert a link. So that will be your resume link wherever you have it hosted, whether it's Google Drive or somewhere else. And so people could click that. And we could test this out as we go along to see what it looks like. So you could click the view at the top and then go see the view. So this would be the view that people would see so far at the top. You could also rename your report at the top. I recommend putting like your name, Jane Doe. You could put portfolio website, professional website, or something like that. I'll put portfolio website. I usually say professional website on my real one, but this workshop is portfolio. It's interchangeable either way. So we have our header, we have our links to the important contact information, and let's fill it in with some meat of examples that we have. And so this will be, of course, customized to you, but I recommend having a hello and welcome in the top. So we're going to use the same kind of color scheme. And we're going to go with actual text boxes now. So I'm just going to copy the ones at the top to kind of get that same look and feel. But for these ones, since it's invisible, we'll have to put a background. So put that gray color. We're going to do hello and welcome. I put hello and welcome with an exclamation point on my own real, let's see what it looks like. Going back to my example, hello and welcome. Yeah, I put hello and welcome on my own real one. You could just say welcome or just, have your personality as well. But yep, you could put hello and welcome. And so I just put it kind of the same size as this data analyst, and I feel like it is a little bit big. So we'll just make things a little bit smaller again. Again, I keep going back from 50 to 55. Just make it a little bit smaller. Maybe like 45 is good. Because it doesn't necessarily have to be in your face. Let's see there. 45. Oops. Did that stick? 45. There we go. Did this stick? Yes. And so just a little stylized here. I kind of extend it to the right. I like it kind of away from the edge a little bit. So put some spaces or tabs in between just to extend this a little bit more. So it's underneath the resume area. And then I like to put a little bit more stylized with a line going all the way across underneath. So we will go to insert again and oops, insert line. And then we'll just draw a line. And then we'll have to adjust it up here and put it right underneath and make it that same color. So let's see. Where can I make it that same color? I think it's because I have too many things clicked. Okay. Click out, cheese and line only. make it that same color. You can make it a little bit thicker as well. I'm gonna go to number 3. And so that will separate out our sections. Let me make this a little bit lower, give some space. And then we could put our sections here. So we have a hello and welcome. And I think a few sentences about you and what your expertise in will do. So let's see. For my real one, I'm not going to put my real one here. I'll put the example um, just for there, but I'll share my real one in a sec as well. But hello and welcome. We'll put another text box, and I don't like to start from scratch with the text boxes because I want like the look and feel and the font to be the same. So I'm just gonna do a lot of copy and paste here. And this one I want to start like in the middle a little bit. This one's going to be the text is going to be the gray, and then the background is going to be white or transparent because the background's already white. So hello and welcome. And you can do something like it's going to be smaller text. Maybe not that small. And you could say something like, thanks for stopping by. My expertise is in, and I'll just say my real example after this, but this is what you could start with. I have a passion for my most used languages and tools are. So if you're not in like the language coding space, you could do tools like Photoshop, even Excel, like advanced Excel, or other tools you've used in your job as well. What I can bring to your company or team, more information about me is that so fill it up in some way where there's some meat to this, like it's more than one or two sentences. You're not necessarily writing a cover letter here. It's just a little introduction at the beginning to say who you are and what you like to do. What makes me most excited about working in this field is, and you can see my work, and so that's just a little example for some meat there. I think the way I had the spacing in mind, yeah, I can be very particular about that, is I had a little bit more space in between. So I'm trying to see if I could, like, it's a little bit too close together for me. See if I could change that on the side. Let me see what you guys see. You guys see the top portion of that. Overflow, line height, I think. Oops. I think I want it to be like, what is that? 32? So it's a little bit spaced out. And you could play around with the bold or not. I think I want to keep it bolded. And let's go back to my reference that I had too. So I keep looking back at that. Okay, so I think that spacing is a little bit better. Maybe I could increase the size to 26. So we just have a little blurb at the top. And so there's a little bit more information. Just give some space there as well. Not too much space. All right, so you just want to play around with it, what makes sense for you. Let me see if I could find the example that I actually used. So let me see if I have that. So you could have kind of like just a real example of what you can put in there as well. So I think it's here. Let's see. Okay, so my real example that I've used on my own site going into job applications, it says, hello and welcome. That's the header at the top. I'm glad you have stopped by to learn more. I have a passion for creating and delivering innovative products to consumers with the use of data insights, combining intuitive business sense with technical expertise, in parentheses, including Python and Tableau. So I list my specific skills and tools there and languages if you know them. Uh, I am able to take whiteboard ideas to market with a 360 view. So that's just a real example that I've used in my own applications, and definitely mold it to your own and your expertise, just kind of to show what you're all about and just have fun with it as well. All right, checking the stream. I think we're still doing good, and hopefully, I haven't gotten messages yet of any like drop frames. So, hopefully, it's still going smooth for you guys. If you followed along so far, this far, definitely kudos to you. If anybody's following along right now, if you're having any issues along the way, let me know. I know this tool can be a little bit finicky, especially with like how we had to recolor some things, but it's all about like hacking quote unquote through it, working your way through those issues and being creative about it as well. You don't have to follow this to a T. But if you have any questions along the way, feel free to jump in chat, let me know. And so yeah, this is the first blurb. So now you're started on your introductions. All right, we're gonna set up the other sections, and I'm not going to go through all the sections in details. I have like 3 or 4 sections in mind, but we'll go through maybe 1 or 2 more, and that will be our workshop before I conclude. So the next sections you can have, basically to separate it, I just copy and paste that same header, do control, highlight them, control C, control V works, and just like space them apart. So, kind of jumps to the end for some reason. And you can do, for my own example, my next section is past products where I have linked news articles because I have been involved in products myself where it actually increased like the stock market price. And for instance, in a real life example, I have a product we were working on where NASDAQ wrote an article about saying that we reached like a 52-week high for one of the Fortune 500 companies I worked for. You don't necessarily have to have articles exactly like that, whatever the skill might be. But if there's any news publications you have, or if you've even wrote blogs yourself or articles yourself to explain your product. So this is more like if you're into product oriented jobs or roles, this would be really helpful here. The example that I am using is more like dashboard example. So you could put past products, past dashboards. I actually have a separate section underneath that is like past dashboards, past coding experiences. But in this example, we're gonna utilize the examples provided by the Looker tool to say like those are our past dashboard experiences. And again, these examples, I did not create these, but just for that, this example, I'm gonna use those and put them in. And these will be clickable images where people, if they want to go in and view more about those projects, you could link to those news articles. You could link to your blog post showing more information about that. So we'll get started on that. I want to go to my example. I think I'm going to jump to the dashboard portfolio. Since this Jane Doe here is working as a data analyst, we're just going to have a section for her. It says dashboard portfolio. Okay. All right. So, and then in parentheses, so to give an action to viewers that go into this, I'm going to put link to view. And you could, and if it's an interactive dashboard, you could also say link to interact, which is fun for people to view and click to. So people know that it's not just like a static image they're looking at. It's actually an image to a link they could click through to learn more. So I am a fan of this because it's kind of like a gallery view and very interactive and fun to look at versus just like navigation pane on the side where they have to click the navigation and it's all text. So it's more colorful and fun to look at in my opinion. So let's make the right side, the parentheses, smaller. I think we could do that. Let's see. Can we do that? Increment. Boop, boop, boop. I think that what I ended up doing as like a little hack here, I might have done just a separate text box because I thought you could definitely change the size of particular part of the text, but I might have done a hack. It's been a while since I looked at how I created this to a T. So we're just gonna put like a text here. Again, this is optional, and there might be like a better way that to make this look. But we'll just I just added a separate text box there so we can make it a different size. Link to view, and then I made it transparent background. So we have that. Link to view. Beside. All right, so people have like a call to action on what they can or cannot do in this dashboard as well. Okay, so, oh, we're already at 15 minutes in this workshop. I tend to talk a lot and explain a lot, so we're gonna go over an hour a little bit here. Hopefully that's okay with you guys. Definitely put it at 2x speed if you guys watch this again. Want to make it go faster. But anyways, we're gonna put our example projects here. So for Jane Doe, it's gonna be dashboard portfolio. I think actually what I'll do is make actually put past projects here. So it's you could use it if you don't make dashboards, if you're not in the dashboard analytics business, you could just put past projects and you could put whatever you want here basically. So I'll put it as that. Let me just arrange this to be a little bit better. Accessibility. Here, past projects. So we're gonna just take this from the front sections of as an example, we'll take this from the front sections of Looker Studio. So I am going to insert those here. So just to show you where I got it from, we're gonna actually get those links here too. So I clicked to go back to your homepage. I clicked the little Looker icon, like magnifying glass on the top left of the screen, and then it goes back to your homepage. We're gonna utilize just some examples from here and just quote unquote say this is our past projects, but of course you would utilize your own projects. No plagiarism here, but I'm just going to choose two that look cool. So I'm going to choose world population data and I'm going to choose Google Classroom engagement. So some of these unfortunately are a little broken when you click in because these were created many years ago. I think that to use it, I can just have it reconnect really quick. So maybe let me do this really quick. Let me edit it. See details. If I can replace the data set. Let's not go into that. Let's pretend that this was, ideally you're gonna link to something that's not broken. Let me go back to Looker and restart that. Let me go ahead and delete a few of these because we don't need those. Those were created. When you click on these dashboards, they automatically create them underneath. And I just didn't want duplicates yet. So let me go ahead and click on Template Gallery, Google Sheets here. And so we're going to copy this URL. We're just going to utilize that in our example later. So I'm copying this into like a separate notepad I have in the back in the other screen here. So let me go back, and so it saves it here, I think, for us automatically. Oh, it didn't that time. That's okay. And so then the second one I want to use is this Google Classroom engagement. So I'll click that and copy that URL. And so this one has a little bit more data that can be utilized. So this is not part of the training, but just a side note, in case you want to create your own analytics with your own data you have, Looker, this is what Looker usually is used for, and you could hover over the graphs and filter and interact and have drop downs and just change it and edit it the way you want. So I like to have this linked in my own professional portfolio website because I have dashboards like this that are interactable. And so you could actually create your own dashboard on any data out there. It's really fun sometimes if you're into creating dashboards. It's also something you could pad your resume and your portfolio with. You create it on anything. So I've created dashboards off like earthquakes around the country and how often they can occur because that data is publicly available. You could use the data that Google provides, make some cool graphics off like the world population data by country. People have created dashboards off like sports teams to track the sports that they like, stock markets tracking their own stocks as well, or stocks they're interested in. So that's just ideas. If you have a hard time looking for examples of what to put in your portfolio, again, if you're into art or crafts, you could post those, any blogs or articles you made. But if you're looking for something more visual, this is an option where you create on your own. But we're not going to go over how to create those today. So we're just copying these as an example to put and link to. And so we'll go back. I have those URLs copied. We'll go back to our portfolio website and go to edit at the top right to be able to add things again. And we're going to insert our pictures. So insert, I have the screenshots of those on my computer already. So we'll start with the world population data. We'll put that right here. And so ideally you would have like your own blurb or title at the bottom that you have as well. So we'll just use Google's for now as an example. So this world population data, and then we'll add our URL in here. Click the properties. So with the images, like we did for the GitHub and LinkedIn logo earlier, we'll do the insert link and we'll choose that world population link and post it here. And we'll open it in a new tab. Why not? And then we'll put our same for the other dashboard example. So I'm just going to do a copy and paste so we have the same look and feel, the same size as well. Space it out as needed, and then edit that link so it goes to the correct URL. So we'll have the link for that, and then we'll change the thumbnail to the classroom engagement. So those are our two examples. Those are our past projects. And so sometimes you might have different sections. So for me, I have a section for coding projects, and I have a screenshot for that as well. And I have my dashboard example that would be similar to this, and then my past projects I use for like my news article. You might have like a news article section. You can make as many sections as you want. It always jumps down to the bottom for some reason, but just copying and pasting these sections. You could have like an art section where you have your art or crafts that you want to share as well. So anything you want to show off. And I encourage you, if you don't have enough professional experiences that you want to show, include your personal hobbies as well. I've seen examples of portfolio websites that just have people's drawings or arts, and they're applying for consulting jobs and stuff. So it just adds a little bit more color and personality to yourself to set yourself apart from other applicants as well. And so for now, for this example, I'm just going to leave the past projects, but something extra I do put, and completely optional again, at the very bottom, I put logos of different companies I've worked with. So these are companies I might have been employed with, or these are companies I might have contracted with, done work for, done projects for. And so I'm not going to reveal my own all my own companies, but I'm just going to put an example. Like you guys know, I worked at Google, so I'll put an example of Google logo and a Microsoft logo. So we have some logos there. So instead of just like the boring resume text, it can all be in your resume, but you can put the logo so it's more colorful, more eye-catching. Another option is you can put the logos of the tool stack you have. So for this, I will do another section and put it underneath. So tool stack languages, you could put logos of that. You'll just label it correctly, or tool stack, skills. So you could put the logo of the different skills like Excel logo or something like that, Python logo, Java logo. If you've worked with any types of tools, you could put the logos there. The example that I'm going to use is the company's logos. So companies, I'm just going to put companies at the bottom. And like you might have seen in other professional companies, actual company websites, that whether they're like consulting websites or tool websites, they usually put the logos of companies, other big companies that have used their product or tools at the bottom or where they were mentioned. So it's just another like self-endorsement thing to kind of add color and flavor to your professional website. So for me, I'm going to put companies. We'll add in those logos, and again, they'll be the image objects. So I'll add in a Google logo, and just as an example, I'll add in a Microsoft logo, just as an example. So you could add in any companies that you're worked with. But if it's like tool stack, you could change this to tool stack and add logos that way. So those are the examples I'm using. You could add more or less sections as needed. After you're done, you could view it and see how it looks. And you can also copy this URL to your phone, see how it looks on your phone as well. Now, you'll notice here, as we view this, there's a lot of blank space here because for this example, I only use these options, these examples. So I recommend you go in and actually shorten up the website length here. So you could go in and edit and go back to page and current page settings and just kind of eyeball where it should end. Go to style again. It's all by pixels, unfortunately, so you can't really like go all the way to the bottom and like drag and drop the bottom up. So you kind of have to gauge. You might have to play around with the number. We'll start with the height of 2000 and see where that lands us. Oop, not 200. As you can see, if I did 200, it goes all the way up too much. So we'll do 2000. See where that lands us. It's still a little bit too much white space at the bottom. We'll go like 1500 pixels. That's a little bit too short. So we'll go like in between 1750. 1750, let's do like 1600. 1600 is perfect. So as you can see, now it's a little bit shortened, so there's not like weird white space that people, when they go on your site, they won't be scrolling forever. And also, you don't have to make it so long. Sometimes something short like this is nice as well, so they don't have to scroll too much. There's also options if you want to be more advanced to have a carousel of past projects to show, and then they could scroll left or right, almost like you could kind of emulate when people go on Netflix or those other streaming services where you look through a movies or TV shows. It's showing icons like that, and you can scroll left or right. So that's just maybe I got a little bit of examples from those kind of interfaces for this as well, but you just want to play around, have fun with it. This is kind of more of a rudimentary, very basic one with a basic professional color palette, but definitely don't be afraid to show your personality as well to set yourself apart from other applicants when you show when you show this on your resume. Now, how will you share this website? Personally, I put the link of this in my resume. So Looker Studio unfortunately has a longer link at this time. If you go to share, the drop down beside the share, you could get report link. It's a little bit of a long URL, lookerstudio.com/s, and then that. You could try to fit that into your resume. I'm double checking my resume now. I think I have something similar. It used to be something, this tool used to be called Data Studio. And I think I have to uh, update mine a little bit. Let's see where I put mine in resumes here. So it's about the same length. It used to be called Data Studio, but I recommend just like trying to make the URL as short as possible. I put it at the top right beside my LinkedIn. So I have my resume and I have my name and LinkedIn underneath. And right beside the LinkedIn, I also put this link. And so people are curious about that link and they go and I put like, I describe it. I put portfolio website colon and then put this link. And I don't put the HTTPS because that makes it too long. I just start with like the Looker Studio google.com and make sure you have this code at the end as well. I always share out a PDF where I make that link clickable so people that view online, they could just click right into that link and they'll go to this site. You could also do QR codes. I've seen people have resumes with QR codes, so that is an option as well. So if I were to go to that, it would look something like this. And then this is what people would see. And then they would go in and see all the options here. So yeah, they'll go in, they could click on these. If we click on these, it opens the example of the dashboard where they could click and play around and interact and going through the classroom dashboard. So it can be a little bit fun for them to click and see the work you've had as well. This could click to news articles. This could click to your GitHub links, like different projects you have GitHub for if you have coding examples. The possibilities are endless. So yeah, share this via a QR code on your resume or share the link. If you need a shorter link, there's tools out there that will have link shorteners as well. So you could fit it all on your resume at the top. And when you're applying online, a lot of online applications will have options like LinkedIn profile, and then they'll have another option like other URLs. Share this URL on your other URLs if you have online applications as well, because they'll be able to go to this. It's a one-stop shop for everything. They'll see your LinkedIn, your GitHub, your email, and they'll see more about you. And this doesn't have to just be for a 9-to-5 job. You could curate this website for just freelancing and client side as well. And so this is coming into, now we're concluding this portion and workshop. I'm going to go over some alternatives as well before we close up, and just like stay for like my extra special message at the end to my personal message. But for alternatives, so this was a very like non-technical way, at least hopefully it wasn't too technical, where you could follow along. You don't have to have experience with coding, where you could create your own website. It is a little quote unquote hack again because it utilizes Looker Studio, which is meant for data and dashboarding, but you could create your own curated website for free here, where you have a place where it's hosted for free and anybody could access. It's really accessible for everybody. Now the alternatives are, if you want to have more options, maybe less finicky, some paid for sites like Canva. A lot of people made their own websites there. You could also have your own like curated URL, like have your own first and last name in the URL in that sense, but those you usually have to pay for, or they might have free trials. I used to actually grow up using something called GeoCities, which is HTML based. It was a free hosting website. I actually made like guinea pig tutorial websites through there because I had guinea pigs. And so that is not available anymore. That was like long and gone. However, an alternative to that is NeoCities. So NeoCities is similar to GeoCities if anybody's familiar with that. If you're more comfortable with HTML, CSS, those are languages that can be pretty easy to learn as well. So if you want even more customization for free as well, NeoCities I think it's neocities.com is an alternative that you could possibly use for this. I haven't tried it out myself, but this one has worked for me with Looker Studio. I find that it's gives a more professional feel as well, a professional tool that can be used. And so it kind of shows off like more tools that you're able to use for work as well. So that's just some examples you could use here. I also wanted to end this just by saying for all the job seekers out there, I know it's hard looking for jobs this day and age. It's crazy times, especially for those that have gotten laid off. And I wanted to share a resource actually from one of my favorite financial gurus that you might have heard of, Ramit Sethi. He is offering a free job course for all people that have been recently affected by government layoffs, Dodge, DOGE layoffs, anybody that has been laid off from their government, US government job, whether you're a contractor or government employee, if you've been laid off, check the link in my description to fill out a survey on Ramit Sethi's website. I will teach you to be rich.com. That's his website. So the link in my description goes straight to the survey. You'll fill it out. Just provide some details to confirm that you've been laid off or you've lost your job. He provides a really in-depth course for finding your dream job and ways to attract employers and interview tactics as well, all for free, if special for people who have been affected by the layoffs. So be sure to check that link out. The last thing I want to mention is, as someone who's been laid off myself and has had a hard time looking for jobs, I just want to remind you, don't give up. My personal message is that I was laid off and it took me a year to find a stable paycheck again. Stable, quote unquote, because layoffs always happen, even in a 9 to 5, as we've seen. But it took me a year, and it can take that long. Hopefully it doesn't take that long for you. Hopefully you could find something faster also with these tips and others as well. But sometimes it happens, and for me, I did realize it was really all about luck, which is unfortunate. It has nothing to do with you a lot of the time to get denied from so many jobs. I was getting interviews every week. Again, I was interviewing at these big companies and small companies. I was getting to multiple final round interviews where they always said something like, you were great, but it was between you and this one other person. And just luck wasn't on my side until I got my first offer from none other than Google, which was my dream company. So it just goes to show that sometimes it's you're just get lucky or get unlucky, but you just got to keep persevering. Don't forget to take breaks though. Don't tire yourself out too much. You want to have determination. You want to have grit in this job market. You want to keep going, but you don't have to be desperate. You don't have to be desperate. You could still show your worth and show you're worthy of a great job, and just, show you're worthy of a great life in general, which a job can lead to. Or maybe you're going like an unconventional route. Whatever it is, I just want to be able to help you guys here. So more people are joining on. I'm going to switch to my other view where it's going to show live stream ending. So we'll do that really quick. Let me change to that because we are ending here, unfortunately, guys. But thank you for those that joined on, stopped by, give a like. Let me switch to that scene if I can. I think it will be here. There we go. And then I'll just like make myself a little bit more visible for you guys. See my face again. Okay, so live stream. This does conclude the end of the live stream, but hopefully this was helpful. You know, I want to share more accessible tools to people who don't want to pay for a subscription to host a website or don't have like the technical skills to code like a full-on Java HTML website. But if you're interested in doing that as well, I am not like the best at this, that per se, but I can definitely do a little bit of a training tutorial of like more coding. If you guys are interested, I do have a Python coding little webinar that I made that I linked in the description as well. So check out my other tech classes in the description. I think I want to make more of this. I know this channel is kind of a catch-all for so many things. I cover a whole lot of topics, talk a lot about a lot of different things, but I will be adding more to my tech playlist. So it's linked in the description. I'll link it at the end of this video. It's probably being linked right now. Well, no, it's somewhere on either side. So definitely give a like. Feel free to subscribe and let me know what other tutorials you guys are into. Feel free to leave a comment if you miss me on my live stream. But with that, I'm ending the stream. Thanks guys for joining on. I'll catch you guys next time.